No one likes a bad sparring partner, but more often than not, at most gyms around the world, that's what the majority of people are. Why is it that some people can have fun and joke around, but others, they just want to beat up this poor lad that looks like Jake Paul? No one wants to get injured or hurt each other in training, so this feature is long overdue. Fight fans, welcome back to another episode of Striking Breakdowns. In this episode, we will explore how to not be a bad sparring partner. To understand sparring etiquette, we need to understand what to do, what not to do, and how it all escalates. A lot of sparring sessions start with good intention, with both parties smiling. In this clip of Wanderlei Silva near his prime, you see exactly that. The round begins with light glove touches and mutually light sweeps. But then all of a sudden, Wanderlei hits a heavier sweep. Then for some reason, he lands a blow that knocks the sparring partner off balance and sends him flying back. Everything is all good until the axe kick comes, and it should be obvious that an axe kick will trigger Wanderlei Silva, nicknamed the Axe Murderer. The moment the axe kick lands, Wanderlei's fight energy is fully activated. Wanderlei then chases his sparring partner through the crowd, even close to the mirror, and then goes for some hard ground and pound. So what really happened here? It was mutual escalation. Wanderlei hits a heavier sweep than necessary because he was being swept. Then he lands a hard cross out of nowhere. To respond, his opponent goes for head kicks and lands a fast axe kick, which got Wanderlei agitated, and alas, we have an escalated spar. These type of situations are how people get into gym fights. As Gandhi says, an eye for an eye will only make the whole world blind. Even the great Anderson Silva, who I'm a huge fan of, can escalate sparring in a similar manner. This session, for example, starts out moderately hard. Both of them are padded up, so it's likely that this is the end stages of fight camp. As his partner walks Anderson down, he tries to throw a big punch while jumping and shouting. This activates Anderson's fight energy, and he immediately reverses the position and goes for a flurry. Then the sparring partner lands a haymaker against Anderson's flurry, which compels the legend to throw a hard knee or head kick followed by a hard on-back elbow without elbow pads. This type of escalation is dangerous and will get people kicked out of gyms in Thailand. When we go back to the clip with Spencer, otherwise known as the unfortunate Jake Paul of Muay Thai, who everyone wants to beat up, we can see that he got uppercut elbowed when doing a friendly flurry. This should not need to be said, but do not chuck an elbow in sparring without elbow pads. Any elbows thrown must be agreed upon. Throwing elbows or knees to the head instantly invites a gym war. It is also important to note that people shouldn't throw a spinning elbow or spinning back fist unless you have extraordinary control. That means you can throw it as a feint, but never actually come close to landing it. Landing it with strong power is a big no-no, and doing so will create a gym war escalation. Again, using Spencer as an example, he got spinning back fisted when going for a sweep. Due to Spencer's patience, it was all good until his partner threw a haymaker which landed flush. This fully lit up his fight energy, and Spencer had enough and went to war. So when is it somewhat okay to throw a spinning strike, such as a spinning back fist or spinning kicks? If there's a gigantic disparity in power, such as when a child or teenager goes with a pro fighter, they typically can't do too much damage. However, when it is thrown by a giant, even if the giant means well, it is not okay. Even if the intention is not to hurt someone, by not being thoughtful or careful, even an elite fighter can still get badly hurt. Using power with a significant size difference is bad etiquette. Throwing powerful combos with a spinning back fist is very dangerous in sparring. Spencer warns him to go easy, but the giant still throws an axe kick and a hard jumping punch. This is followed by another roundhouse into spinning hook kick, which is again a dangerous move. This is 3 dangerous sequences in a row, which calls for the round to be stopped. Remember that just because we don't intend to hurt our sparring partner, it's still our duty to take care of him. The Dutch are notorious for their hard sparring. They spar just like how they fight. Knees to the head are not off limits. Damn! When people are trading shots at near full power, hitting their partners into another pair of people without stopping, you know you're watching Dutch style sparring. Usually they take turns hitting each other with their guards up. In this way, they treat each other like heavy bags with full power. There usually isn't too much defense going on except for guard adjustments. There are hard sparring and moderate sparring versions of doing this, but oftentimes the Dutch will opt for the hard sparring version. Dutch coaches and fighters believe that hard sparring is necessary in order to gain experience. And this is where their philosophy really separates from the Thais. Thais believe in technical flow sparring, and that most of the time, hard sparring is unnecessary. This is what the greatest golden era coach of Muay Thai, head coach to Sanchai, Lerdzilla and Somrat Kamsing says about sparring.
ตรงนี้เตะกันแรงที่หายเลยตัวนี้ มีสนับแข้ง
อาจารย์ไม่เห็นด้วยไหม
โอ้มาอาจารย์ไม่ชอบ
ไม่ชอบ
ไม่เอาแต่ถ้าเป็นครูมวยได้อยู่อย่างเราเนี่ยเราใส่เอาไว้เตะเด็ก
ให้เขากลัวหรือว่า
ให้คือเซฟตัวเราด้วยไงเซฟครูด้วยไงเตะเด็กก็ไม่เจ็บเด็กเตะเราก็มีสนับแข้งอยู่แต่ถ้าต่างคนต่างมีสนับแข้งมันมั่วกันทีนี้มันสายไปหมดเลยมันบางครั้งมันพลาดมามันเจ็บแต่ถ้าไม่มีสนับแข้งมันจะรู้จังหวะไหนจังหวะไหน
เพื่ออันไหนเบาอันไหนแรง
มันผ่อนได้
ครับผมและลงนวมอะครับลง
นวมก็ปกติหนึ่งถ้าลงนวมแรงๆมากไม่ดีนะอาจารย์มาลงนวมเวลาสปาร์ริ่งบ็อกซิ่งพวกต่อยกันแรงๆอาจารย์ไม่เห็นด้วยนี่
เมาหมัดไม่ได้เลย
เจ็บเมาหมัดเฉย
ฝึกกามไม่ดีหรอ
เพราะมันไม่เกี่ยวขนาดนั้นหรอก
ครับผม
ใส่ฟันยางธรรมดาลงนวมธรรมดาเนี่ยแรงบ้างค่อยบ้าง
We can draw examples of how various types of sparring that Sanchai had. Sanchai is the greatest striker of his era, and although he spars light or moderate intensity most of the time, he actually enjoys sparring hard sometimes. However, he will match the opponent if they go hard. In this clip, Sanchai spars with a hot-headed partner. Immediately, he throws hard shots, which is bad etiquette. You can see Sanchai reacting to these shots with his face. The crowd tells him to go easy, but he doesn't calm down. Then Sanchai pretty much says, "Okay, you want me, young Padawan? You got me, let's go." They start trading, but Sanchai's friend warns them it's not a fight. Despite the crowd's warning and telling the hot-headed striker to go easy and only touch, he slams another kick, which is replied right away by Sanchai. After a nice exchange, Sanchai goes for his signature cartwheel kick, and the partner gets up immediately to almost kick Sanchai when he's recovering. Overall, this was a really weird way to spar with a legend, and I was sad to learn later that Sanchai actually got injured by bad sparring partners during his North American seminars. Not every legend is as gracious as Sanchai though. Take Sugar Ray Leonard for example. Before sparring, Sugar Ray already warned the partner not to hit him to the eyes because he had just got surgery. However, he hits the legend with a jab to the head, and this meant that the agreed upon rules were broken. Each sparring has its own rules, and when clearly discussed, rules are broken. This is a break in consent. Bad etiquette is never good, but against a legend, you do not want to break consent. Leonard talks about going into a trance. We call this activating a fighter's fight energy. Once fight energy is activated, seasoned fighters are in beast mode and they are trained to finish a fight. When the opponent continues to throw headshots, this signals Leonard to go for a finish. Listen to him about how he said he wants to defeat Steve in his mind. This is now a fight.
I sort of went into a trance because left jab did connect my left eye, and it was, I guess, what you call a flashback, because I started to concentrate, and I really didn't want the exhibition to get as physical, but again, I'm a professional athlete, I'm a professional fighter. That's my job, and my intentions is to defeat. For just that few seconds, I want to defeat Steve.
The body shots are often the warning shots, and Steve is lucky that the legend chose to finish him to the body instead of to the head. Sparring is a consensual agreement. It's bad enough that etiquette is often broken against any sparring partner, but especially bad when it's against a legend. One of the best sparring etiquette clips is a legendary meeting that I helped set up. This is the legendary sparring between Zhang Weili and Saenchai. Saenchai would help Weili defend the UFC title for a legendary match against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. You can see that both of them are playful, smiling and testing their techniques. When a trip lands, Saenchai helps the champion up immediately. When Saenchai lands fantastic high kicks, Weili is in awe and admiring the technique rather than being offended or feeling a need to up the intensity. The next example is when Weili clinches against a golden era coach. Here the coach is clinching with her and teaching her at the same time. Each move is calculated and controlled, and neither of them are being very competitive. Thais are able to play spar, and this is what separates them from the rest of the world. In flow sparring, dominance isn't the goal. Notice that the trainer could have resisted a lot more, but instead gives Weili an opportunity to escape and lock in a submission. This is a prime example of a healthy ego from both sides. The best clip demonstrating good etiquette is when Saenchai sparred the #1 ranked glory kickboxer and Muay Thai fighter. Asa Tempao is America's top striking talent, and this was his first time moving around with Saenchai. To start the spar, they made sure to test each other out and start light. Both of them were looking to match each other and remain respectful. This is what sparring with a healthy ego looks like. Neither fighters have anything to prove to each other. They both know they're great strikers. They were still able to emulate a fight without the risk of injuring each other. Notice how they flow with each other and keep the contact light while testing each other. When sparring with a legend, it is good etiquette to let them set the pace. Once sparring partners get a lot more familiar with each other, they will naturally understand what each other can handle without hurting each other. Then, both parties can safely escalate. Even if the partner lands a good shot, escalation is unnecessary. There's no need to come back at them hard. If you want to make a legend like Saenchai happy, copy his moves and use it back at them. As a general rule of thumb, when doing higher intensity sparring, we can go hard to the body, but it's important to remember to always control the shots to the head. Thailand striking coaches and fighters unanimously agree that hard sparring is unnecessary. However, do note that they fight very often, so you can make the case that they get their hard contact rounds through fighting itself. If you want to see what great fight prep sparring looks like in Thailand, take a look at the beautiful Sitjalfo twins. In their own words, they make sure that most of the shots can be defended by their partner. They want the shots to mostly land on the guard of the partner. They want to allow each to complete most of their techniques so it builds good form. Not constantly disrupting their partners allows clean technique to be practiced, while the partner also defends them without being injured. Both of them take turns trading shots and going into different styles. Active defense is used rather than static defense. There is a lot more footwork, parries and dodges, and kick checks when compared to their Dutch counterparts. When the Sitjalfo twins fight, they are able to fight exactly the way they spar. Is this the better way? We believe so. But more importantly, this is the way that naturally includes good sparring etiquette and a lot less injuries. We believe that the world of striking would be better if everyone understood sparring etiquette a little bit better. What are your thoughts on sparring etiquette? Are you in favour of hard sparring or flow sparring? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to watch another episode of Striking Breakdowns. I'm Lawrence Kenshin, and thank you for keeping our channel alive.